So good to be with you this morning. It is a different feel. You knew it'd be this Sunday is always this way. You never know because it's just that Sunday. Next Sunday, we plan to talk to you as we usually do the beginning of a year. Have you realized that next time we gather, it will be next year? We'll actually be in 2025 the next time that we gather together in this place, and that's just still kind of crazy to think about. But here it comes. But today's that in between, and so I just want to address just something actually kind of simple, a little challenge for us, because the weirdness, the awkwardness, the out of whackness is not gone yet. We still have New Year's to come up on. Like, you go downtown, everything's going to feel a little different. So there's something that's been going through my mind that's honestly been a bit of a struggle, but still going through my mind that I just want to share with you to encourage and to challenge you today as we continue through this season. To do that, would you open to the second letter of John? So to John. Second John, however you want to say it. That's where we're going to come to when we get to this point in a little bit. So just have you open there. No PowerPoint, any of that this morning. We're just going to stay in this for a few moments and share some thoughts. But while you're opening there, I do want to ask you, have you ever found yourself preparing for an event or a moment or just a goal, something that you're striving for, and you found yourself working hard for it and getting excited about what's to come, being driven toward the moment and all the other stuff that comes with it, like all the other feels that come with that. But you have something that you're preparing for, that you're looking forward to, that you're excited about, that you're driving toward. It could be years in the making that you've been working on this. It could be months. It could be weeks, days, hours, whatever it is. But you just have this thing that you're looking forward to, you're excited about, you're building towards, you're moving towards, you're putting all your energy, all your emotional energy, your mental, like your physical, like you're just going towards it, and eventually you get to the moment or the event, and you do it. Like you get there, all this thing that you've been building for, that you've been preparing for, whatever it may be, you get to that, you've been waiting on it, you've been anticipating it, you've been looking forward to it, and you get there, and you find yourself having that moment, and when it's done, it's just done. It's kind of like men's Litten breakfast, where you spend hours cooking bacon, and within 5 minutes, it's all gone. You know, just one of those things where you just prepare, and you prepare, and you prepare, and you look forward to, and you get to it, and you have it, and the event could be amazing. It could be special. That thing that you were looking forward to is just, it was everything you hoped it would be, but when it was done, it was done. Have you ever been in a moment where you just did it, and then when it's done and that reality kicks in and you see it and it's all over? Maybe it was a wedding you were preparing for. Maybe it was just anything. Have you ever been in that moment where you build towards it and when it's done, it's just done? And you find yourself done. You know, you go through this excitement and the buildup, but when it's all done, you're crashing. How many have you ever been in a situation or event? Can anybody say we've been there? Been there, prepared, got done. When it's over, I'm done. I'm ready to crash. I would guess that all of us have been a little bit in this. And when that happens and we're in that place where we're just like, man, all this is gone, I've been looking forward to, the excitement, everything, it's over, we tend to feel out of whack when it's done. We tend to just feel, drained, obviously, tired, worn out. But everything just feels a little bit out of balance, a little bit out of whack. We've accomplished what we want to accomplish. We've done what we want to do, but things just seem weird. And in that moment, it gets a little difficult because even though we feel out of whack, even though things seem weird, even though we're tired, the world doesn't stop. Life just keeps happening. The world around us keeps going on. A new day arrives. Expectations are still out there. There's things to do, but you're tired and you're out of sorts, and it's just hard to keep going. Have you just ever been in a place like that? I want you to picture that, whatever it may be. It could be something simple. It could be something big. Because the reality is, in life, as we walk through life, this is what we face over and over and over again. Life, seasons, opportunities, moments, even events, they come and they go, and they come and they go, and we're a part of them, and we're in and we're out. And we find ourselves just in this roller coaster of feelings and weariness and excitement and up and down and out of whack and in the moment and everything else. Well, as I've shared, this is kind of where I was after Tuesday night, and honestly, every year at this time. Because even though it's just an event that's part of my job, I recognize it's one of our bigger events and things that happen within the church in this part of the country, in this area. So I would like to say that I put as much effort into every Sunday as I do a Christmas Eve service, but that would be a bit of a lie. I try to keep a lot the same, but there's a little more that goes in because you just know the expectations. You know what's out there. So you plan and you prepare and you think and you walk a dog and you think it through and it's always on your mind. You're always getting to that place. You go through longer practices than you normally do. You have the moment. It's awesome. It's enjoyable. You're so glad you're doing it. But by the time you go home, your eyes are burning, your head hurts, your body's tired, and you're ready to be done. And you're just ready to be like, okay, it's time to just be done for a while. Let's chill. I would say you loosen the tie, but I don't wear a tie, so we don't do that. But the suit coat comes off that you wear once a year, and you just want to chill. That's where I was at the other night, and I was doing good because I was thinking, well, the next morning, you only saw a half of our family this morning. There was another half that were here that have already gone, and you knew you had all this going on, and you were kind of looking forward to getting together with the family. But the other party was going, I don't really want to do anything. But then something else hit me in the midst of it all. Oh, crud, this is Wednesday, Sunday's coming. Like, are you kidding me? I just want to hang out with the family and have a good time and chill and do nothing. And we got to turn around and do this again in 3 days? Christmas stinks. I mean, that's kind of stuff that goes through, like, this whole thing, like, really? Is there a way we can just skip a Sunday and nobody will notice? Can we just lock the doors and just show up and be like, not even know what's going on? Like, all these things are going through because I was not in a place where I wanted to think about what was coming next. I wanted to stay in the moment that I was in. I wanted to stay in the moment of just relaxing. I wanted to stay in the moment of enjoying time with all the family that comes every couple years. I wanted to stay in the moment of enjoying having kids out of school for the time being, of just having people's schedules be different so they're more relaxed and you can hang out. I just wanted to do that, but at the same time, I just kept thinking, but Sunday's coming. And in the back of my head, but Sunday's coming. And because of my job, Sunday's coming. Others may have the choice not to show up. I kind of don't. Probably better be here. You're welcome. But Sunday's coming. And it's going through my head the whole time. And I found myself just in a place just feeling out of whack, unmotivated, just going, I don't know really what to do. And I actually was talking to the girls yesterday at the well, and I just said, what do you girls think I ought to, like I knew what I was going to talk about, so don't get that freaked out. But I said, what do you think I ought to talk about? And they said, you probably ought to talk about the fact that you don't want to talk about anything. I said, yeah, that's pretty good, actually, because you're just in that spot. That's where I was at, but like almost very similarly to the way I went through Advent this year, in that moment, there was just not a big deal, not just this big, the light shone through the clouds and God spoke in a deep voice or whatever, but in a moment, I was able to hear a song, and I was able to read some scripture that reminded me that this is what happens. But just because, in this particular case, the moment of Christmas is over, it's not over. He still reigns. And that's why that song that we played for you at the beginning was played. As I was walking the dog, I listened to this song, and in the words of this song, it says, in the bleak midwinter, all creation groans. For a world in darkness, frozen like a stone. And I can tell you, you guys, those of you especially that live here, you know what's coming. In about a week, we have been very fortunate this year. We keep saying it's cold, but we all know it is not cold yet. Those lights downtown in about a week to week and a half are going to come down. We're going to be back to good old Waukene, just Waukene, and it's going to be frozen, and it's going to be cold, and it's going to be dreary. And I started thinking about this when it says, in the bleak midwinter, all creation groans. I promise you, some of us are going to groan, and we're going to show up at church on a Sunday morning and say good morning. We're going to go, it's cold if we decide to even come. Because we know what's coming. In the bleak midwinter, all creation groans, for a world in darkness frozen like a stone. It goes on to say, a light is breaking. In a stable for a throne, and he shall reign forevermore. Forevermore. He shall reign forevermore. Unto us a child is born, the King of kings and Lord of lords, and he shall reign forevermore. And I found myself in this place going, yeah, I'm not motivated. I feel out of whack. I'm tired. But he still reigns. And in a literal sense, I have a job to do. But as I wake up with the new day of gift of breath that he's given me, I have a purpose to live out. I have a reason to keep going because he still reigns forevermore. And it began to motivate me again to go, okay, let's go then. This wasn't just about a baby in a manger. You keep going. And he has a desire for us that he puts in front of us. He wants us to realize that this little baby that was born in a manger actually grew up. He lived life. He did some carpentry work. He became a rabbi. He taught those who would listen. He eventually sacrificed his life for us all. He showed the highest power in resurrecting through that sacrifice. And then he went and he ascended at the right hand of the Father. And his desire is that no matter how we're feeling, no matter what season we've gone through, no matter what we've experienced, whether it was good or whether it was bad, is that he still reigns forevermore. That even though the event may be over, he still kept going. He still kept living. He still kept teaching. He still kept showing. He still kept healing. He still kept being him. And he still reigns forevermore. And with this as our foundation, he dreams that we would live how much we believe this with the way that we continue to love him and other people around us. In the bleak midwinter, when it's frozen like a stone, when we're tired, when we're worn out, when we're out of whack, he still reigns forevermore, and he wants us to show that. And where it really got me was in this letter that hardly anybody ever refers to of 2 John. And I want to read this together. And you may even, as we read this, you may go, what? So I have these words going through my head, and then been doing the chronological Bible plan. And this just happened to take me to this letter during this week at this time, just reading the Bible chronologically on a daily basis. And in 2 John, here's what it says. Part of why we like it is look how short it is. It's kind of nice. It's just a quick little letter. It says, the elder, who they believe was John, to the lady chosen by God and to her children, whom I love in the truth. Now, let me hold back a second. It's interesting when you read that. It's a little weird to see one of the letters in Scripture addressed to a lady chosen by God and her children. When you go study that, scholars believe, some think maybe literally meant a lady, and they actually had a lady in mind that he might have been writing to, but most of them believe that this was actually written to a church who they called a lady. And in fact, it's so much to the point they said they actually believe it could have almost been speaking in code. So if it got intercepted by the government officials and whatnot, because of just the way it continues to play out, they believe the lady is to the church and the people of God, chosen by God, to the children whom I love in the truth. It goes on. So either way, more than likely, John is writing to the church. And remember, while we sit here and complain about how bad it is for us as the church, it is nothing compared to what they were facing if they said they believed in Jesus in that day. So they might have had to been a little bit conspicuous when they wrote this, like a little bit undercover, so that if it got intercepted, they could continue to meet, nothing worse would happen. So from the elder, John, to the lady, believed to be the church, chosen by God, to those children that are part of the church, whom I love in the truth, and not I only, but also all who know the truth, because of the truth which lives in us and will be with us forever. Grace, mercy, and peace from God the Father and from Jesus Christ, the Father's Son, will be with us in truth and love. Here's the short little thing he writes to him. It has given me great joy to find some of your children walking in the truth, just as the Father commanded us. And now, dear lady, or maybe dear church, it's like I'm just writing you this quick letter. It's cool to hear that people are walking this truth, but I need to write this to you. I'm not writing you a new command, but one we have had from the beginning. I ask that we love one another. And this is love, that we walk in obedience to his commands. As you've heard from the beginning, his command is that you walk in love. I say this because many deceivers who do not acknowledge Jesus Christ as coming in the flesh have gone out into the world. Any such person is the deceiver and the Antichrist. Watch out that you do not lose what we have worked for, but that you may be rewarded fully. Anyone who runs ahead and does not continue in the teaching of Christ does not have God. Whoever continues in the teaching has both the Father and the Son. If anyone comes to you and does not bring this teaching, do not take them into your house or welcome them. Anyone who welcomes them shares in their wicked work. And then he just ends it. I actually have much to write to you, but I do not want to use paper and ink. Boy, he's a man after my own heart. I'd rather just talk to you. I don't want to write it all out. Instead, I hope to visit you and talk with you face to face so that our joy may be complete. The children of your sister who is chosen by God send their greetings. And we're not going to dig deep into this, and you may be going, what? This bright background, well, I read this, and I just pictured John writing to the church, just going, I've heard about you guys. It's kind of similar to the letter that you see in Revelation, or the angel, where he just says, to the letter of the church of. It's kind of similar where I see this, but listen, this needs to be reminded. This needs to be worked on. This needs to be remembered. This needs to not be forgotten, whatever it may be. It's kind of similar in tone to that, where John's going, hey, I'm happy to hear that there's some people that are walking in the truth, but I feel like I need to remind you not to forget the first command that was ever given. And the reason why is because you continue to battle against things that come against it. In this case, there are people that are coming in who are deceivers, who are literally like the Antichrist, that are teaching you something different. And because of all this, it is easy to forget that in the midst of everything that goes on, we still have a simple command in front of us. It is the ultimate command. It's the greatest commandment. Keep loving one another. And do this as you obey the teachings of Christ. Guys, I'm proud of what's going on. I'm thankful for what's going on. I'm happy for what you've been able to do. It's good with all that's been happening. You guys are walking. You're working hard. You're doing all this. But it's like he says, but I just want to remind you just real quickly before I come talk to you face to face, don't forget that the ultimate thing, no matter the season, no matter what's happening, no matter what's coming, is just keep loving. Keep going. And I know that he's writing to them for a specific reason, but I took that and went, man, that is just like between the reality that he reigns forevermore and he has a purpose for me, I still need to get up today. No matter how out of whack, how out of order the schedule may be, no matter what goes on, and be a person who just lives out that simple, basic command we've had from the beginning to love somebody and keep going. Because the season doesn't matter as to whether we do that or not. The schedules don't dictate whether we should do that or not. The weather does not dictate that. That is our belief in everything we just celebrated and who he became that drives that. And as we walk through, I think myself personally and us, as we walk through this time that just is different every year, I feel like it's good for us to be reminded with that same letter, to be people who are loving one another. Those around us, those who are following the commands, the teachings of the little baby in that manger who grew up to be a man, who taught and lived what life was meant to be. And for me, I don't know about you, but it reminded me, I've got, in the midst of all these feelings and all the weariness, all that's going on, two things I just need to keep thinking about over this next week and 2 weeks and 3 weeks and as we go into this new year. I've got a battle to fight, as he talks about in here. I've got a bleak midwinter to fight in my life, where all kinds of temptations, all kinds of opportunities, all kinds of deceivers and antichrists and whatever you want to call them are going to come into my life and try and keep me from being that person who is still just called to love. regardless of what's going on. This reminds me in here that in the midst of everything that's going to take place, it's part of the world we live in. It's just part of being a human in this world. I am going to fight a bleak midwinter in my life. But I'm still called to love. I just need to fight that fight to get there. Even if that means sitting on the couch and not wanting to get up, to get in the car, to come here, you got to fight that fight to keep going. Or to go meet with that person that needs to talk, we got to fight that fight to keep going. But it reminds me as I read this, I have a bleak midwinter to battle. And it will best be done if I will just continually give him my heart. Not my best efforts, those things are good, not my talents, not all my energy, not my just dedication, but just say, so God, you have my heart. Christmas traditions don't have my heart. Church services don't have my heart. Certain worship songs don't have my heart. You have my heart. And if you have my heart, I will better battle that bleak midwinter. There's a line in that song that I just shared that says, if I were a wise man, I would travel far, and if I were a shepherd, I would do my part. But poor as I am, I will just give him my heart. I read this second letter that John wrote. I heard the lyrics of this song, and I was just reminded that his reign isn't seasonal. It's not temporal. It's eternal. And all he desires is what's written in that simple letter from John to the lady, church, whatever you want to call it, is that we remember that first command is just keep loving. Just keep loving. Just keep loving. Give me your heart. Follow me. And he'll walk us through all of it, regardless of where we are. And that's the encouragement or the challenge I just want to give to us today. Nothing more difficult than that. Because it is still going to be a little weird this next week. It's going to be a little out of whack. I don't know if you looked at the forecast, but Kansas is coming back tomorrow. It's going to be cold and it's going to be windy, and we're going to complain and we're going to sell a lot of coffee. Okay? It's coming. But that is no excuse. We're going to be tired. Some of this stuff, some are just starting the family time. So in about 3 or 4 days, we're going to be tired. Some of us are just dealing with whatever it may be, and it just feels like the bleak midwinter. I just want to encourage you that baby that we worshiped, that baby that we celebrated, that baby that we looked at as the gift that he was in our lives, did not end his life in a manger, but grew up, lived life, taught and showed us, died for us, and reigns forevermore, and all he desires is that we would just love, regardless of the season, regardless of how we feel, we would love. So we battle all that tries to keep that from happening and give him our heart. It's that simple. That's what I'm working on. I'm just sharing with you from where I'm at and where I believe many of us could say, hey, we've been there before. And I want to encourage you just through this season to live that out. It'll lead us into next week too, but to take on that challenge. And maybe to help, we do have one more video that might be a little nicer, more fun than how I just shared it with you, to help you see this, to help you remember this, to help you take it with you. But I just encourage you to remember this didn't end in a manger. He reigns forevermore, and he just wants us to live out how much we believe this by the way we love those around us, regardless of how we feel. Let's watch this, and then we'll close this morning.
I wonder what it would be like to be born in a manger.
Yeah. Wonder whatever happened to baby Jesus.
He grew up.
What? Wait. So you're saying that the baby Jesus Christmas story is the same as the adult walk on water Jesus?
Yeah. Thanks, honey.
Wow, I just never really put the two concepts together. Wonder what happened to that guy, huh?
He went to the cross.
That's the same guy?
Yeah.
So what you're saying is baby Jesus is the same as cross Jesus?
Yeah. I mean, there's some time in there, right? I mean, he grew up, he taught people, he lived a perfect life. He died on the cross and came back to life, and, now he lives in our hearts.
That's the same guy? The Jesus that lives in our hearts? Okay, I was really. Oh, wow. Okay, I never really put all those guys together, you know?
Only one guy.
I tell you this, here's an idea. Maybe we stop just making Christmas all just this once a year isolated thing, and we make it an ongoing story about the salvation in our hearts and lives. Up top.
That's the idea.
Is this the
We laugh at that, but let's be honest, how many of us actually live that sometimes? This is the same guy. We spend so much time and so much energy going into Christmas, into the season, into this time, that when it's over, we're tired, we're worn out. And kind of the opposite of these guys, we're going to start packing up our nativity sets. We're going to either start turning off the lights in our houses, or we're going to pack them up. Like I said, downtown is going to go away. Like it's going to turn into Waukene again, not the one we like to put with drones and pictures. It's going to be every day. But that same baby still reigns forevermore. That same baby is part of the same God. That same baby is part of the one that was there at the beginning of it all, and will be there at the beginning of each day of our lives. That same baby is just wanting us to go out and be the one that lives out that WWJD because he was him. That wants us to just carry on this Christmas all the time, no matter the season. That peace and love and hope and joy that we talked about didn't end on December 25th after we opened our gifts and decided if we liked them or not. December 26th and 27th and 28th, it's still there. And he wants us to live in that, us to share that. And he says it's as simple as this. It's the old command, and I'll just say it new. Go love somebody. Go love, because no matter how tired you are, no matter how worn out you are, no matter how bad your eyes hurt, no matter whatever it is that may be going on, you can love. You can still love. That's because you remember how much I love you. And you can just do what I've asked you to do. I'll work out the rest. I'll take care of where it needs to go from there. That's simply what I want to encourage us as the Waukene Church of God, or those that are visiting from other churches today, to consider as we just go through the rest of this season and then enter January 1st, 2025 as some of the most loving people ready to go through what's next, because it's still coming. The world doesn't end. It just keeps happening. The same letter that was written to them can be written to us. So as we close today, let's just stand, and there's not going to be words on a screen, but I think we know a lot of them. If we don't, just close your eyes and pray that he would help us live out what's going to be sung here, or let's just sing it with them, and again, make this our prayer as we go. Would you stand?
Oh God, my God, I need you. Oh God, my God, I need you now. how I need you now. O rock of ages, I'm standing on your faithfulness. Oh God, my God, I need you. Oh God, my God, I need you now. How I need you now. Oh rock of ages, I'm standing on your faithfulness. On your faithfulness. And how great is our God. Oh, sing with me, how great is our God. And all will see how great is our God. And how great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. And all will see how great is our God.
And now, dear lady, I'm not writing you a new command, but one we've had from the beginning. I ask that we love one another, and this is love, that we walk in obedience to his commands. As you have heard from the beginning, his command is that you walk in love. Season may be over, may be tired, may be out of whack, but I ask that we love one another. The lights may go down, midwinter blues, long dark nights, cold gray days. I ask that we love one another. As you've heard from the beginning, his command is that you walk in love. God, I just pray that you would help us to live this out today, tomorrow, the next day, regardless of how we're feeling at the moment. Help us to fight that battle, give you our heart, and walk in love. In Jesus' name, amen. We'll see you guys in 2025, okay?